Coach will make an opening statement, and please wait for the microphone to ask your question.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, New Haven, and I thought Coach did a great job. I think, they obviously had some things swirling around, their program last year, but just in watching their scrimmages and just seeing, how good they were offensively, with the things they run and the spacing and the patience, and just had a lot of respect from the film. I think you evaluate who you're playing and the quality of the coaches that you're playing when you're when you watch the film and you see habits and you see you see a great structure and a great plan at both ends of the court. So, credit Coach. It's going to be fun, I think, to watch him build that program into a team that is going to be fighting for NCAA tournament bids. For us, I thought today that they made a lot of hard shots. I think some of the things that plagued us last year, reared its ugly head anytime that a team has 23 field goals and on only 3 assists. That tells you that you've lost a lot of one-on-one battles, both on the perimeter and in the post. Some of it was a lack of physicality, especially with all the resources that we have at UConn. That we couldn't play, with greater physicality tonight. Maybe it was too much of the messaging of not fouling, and which we dealt with the last 2 games. But just you walk away with it. You missed many opportunities to score. Wide open threes, finishes at the rim. 11 assists is really disappointing. We're a 20 assist team, so to get 11 means we didn't pass the ball very well or finish plays. But I think for me it comes down to just really bad one-on-one defense, and from guys that were brought in here to help us in that area, or players that on the wing that as juniors now we need to be able to guard better.
Yeah, I know obviously the defense, like you said, is a concern. As far as is the shooting something that you think is not going to be, maybe at least your worries coming into the season, and at some point is it starting to get a little worrisome? I know it's extremely early, but
yeah, well, I mean, Solo is not shot it well in the exhibitions and in tonight. But I thought he set that off to start the game. With the way he attacked the rim, just with no shot blocking out there for them. I was more disappointed in what we did at the rim, the amount of layups we missed. We butchered opportunities. I think we'll shoot it well enough. The other thing too is as Eric's developing, and Dwayne is not a guy that you could throw the ball in. Obviously, Terrace is going to solve a lot of offensive issues, by having a guy that's going to have the ball in his hands, every other possession or every third possession at the minimum. Will create better threes, but I'm not worried about the threes.
And was Jaylen Stewart's assertiveness the bright spot? It seemed like he was pretty consistent, 8 rebounds.
Yeah, I think there were definitely encouraging things there. I think there's a lot for him to build on. I think Jaylen is a guy we need. I just thought he could have guarded better. I just thought that we needed to guard better, and I think some of it was being spooked about fouling. I think some of it is like letting right-handed players drive the ball righty middle. So again, I'm going to take your answer about Jaylen's offense, and I'm going to turn it into into defense. But sometimes the bye games, the games are very different. Even, when you play high major teams, the court is just spaced different. There's so many small perimeter players on the court. Where when you play in Michigan States and different people that are high major, there's bigger bodies out there, and not to make excuses, but that may have had something to do with the brutal defense, because we guarded Michigan State better than we guarded New Haven.
Yeah, it's still on your left as well. Was this a pretty frustrating, disappointing experience for you, or is it also easy to say, hey, it's a team with 2 starters out and it's opening night?
Two things could always be true. I mean, that was excruciating. Games like that are tough. There are games like that. These games that we play like that are way more stressful than BYU or Kansas on the road, just because, when your play as poorly as we played for that long of a period of time, and is that the Wi-Fi? Is that, I was actually able to send text messages in the pregame to family members. I didn't have to send a GA outside so that my mother-in-law can get what was the question? So 2 things could be true, right? So, that was a painful game to coach, because we played better in the 2 exhibitions versus teams that are significantly better than New Haven is. But credit them. Some of the shots that Pasha threw in, and some of the shots, the middies, and some of the shots that they made, and then versus the shots that we were missing, obviously, the game could have played out a lot different. So, that game sucked to have to sit through for the coaches. It was painful. It was miserable. But I also love the team. I think the team will get a lot better from this. In a way, it'll be a wake-up call. You're missing 2 starters versus Michigan State, and you're up 17 or 18, twice in the second half versus a top 25 team. So maybe you come into the game today a little bit of a, hey, listen, this is just going to be a 45 or 50-point night. So, but I love the team. I think the team's going to be awesome. It's going to be great to get Terrace back. And it looks like Bray's doing a great job with his recovery. Maybe recovering faster because he's such a gamer. So, but I think the team's going to be awesome this year, and tonight sucked.
What do you take from Eric's debut? Obviously, like you said, the kid did score down low and just the 1 rebound. But does he have to be a little bit better at that? A little more sort of on the boards.
The good news for Eric is he's never going to play against a center that is taking those types of shots. It felt like, Woody Harrelson in White Man Can't Jump, where he's kind of shooting these fadeaway 2s. I just think it was a very uncomfortable game. The 5-man for them, the way, and again, credit coach and his system, and and again, this is a guy that I think is going to be able to build a great program there, and deserves the full support of the university and the people around there. The guy's a sharp basketball guy, but that's not your typical. That wasn't like a center matchup. Eric played better against the Michigan State front court. Eric played better against Boston College's front court. These games are different when you're playing low majors and bye games where they invert you. His center was, driving the ball. He was playing like a quarterback, like a point center. So he'll play better against high majors than he will against probably these low majors.
Coach, Terrace looked pretty live in warm-ups today. Can you comment on what went into the decision to sit him today and what his status might be for Friday?
Yeah, I just keep myself out of that. We can't bring him back prematurely and have the hamstring linger, because we can't do this without him. he's a focal point. He's going to improve our defense. He's going to improve our offense. He's going to improve our rebounding. I mean, he's going to improve our energy because he plays with a lot of energy. I thought out there we didn't have guys with a lot of spirit tonight, partially because they weren't making shots. But, I mean, that's above me. I mean, that goes to our medical people. They're just telling me when he's available. He's practiced live 4 straight days. And then that decision was made by the medical people. I'm not getting myself involved in medical things with the players. Their job is to make sure that this guy comes back on the court and stays on the court.
Anything else? Right here.
Coach, on defense, in terms of your philosophy, do you want players giving help, or do you want a big man down there helping protect the rim?
Well, the problem was their big man was not at the rim. The problem was their big man was out on the perimeter. So you can't just, yell at your center to go stand underneath the basket, while his guy is at the top of the key, he's in the left corner, he's getting catches, he's handling the ball as much as their guards. So, the thing is you could be in gaps more, but the problem with that was tonight, a lot of time, it was straight line drives. When you get beat in a straight line, and you don't push an offensive player off of a straight line and get him off of his angle, then digging at drivers and getting in gaps and raking at the ball, it doesn't do you any good because there's no help for a straight line drive. And I think my fear is going to be that a lot of what we saw tonight was end dumb. Like you're letting guys drive their strong hand middle when you have help at their left hand away from the middle, sending it sideline, baseline. So, yeah.
Yeah, as far as Silas goes, when you have a guy come into a new program, does it take some time to maybe just get out there? Or?
Yeah, I wouldn't overreact to, I wouldn't overreact. I mean, he had some really bad individual defensive possessions out there tonight. And, credit, I think Fitzpatrick's a good player. But it should not have been as easy as it was for their guards. I just, again, I would let this team develop. I would let this I wouldn't, if I was the fan base, I would not overreact to, not a great performance from the group. He's going to be a lot better defensively. He'll improve from this performance. He's got the requisites, the requisite physical traits to be the on-ball defender that we need him to be. I was encouraged with the way he drove it. Again, T-News junior year, it wasn't a joyride from day one, and the guy, ended up in the Ring of Honor, or whatever the hell that's what it's called. Yeah. Here we go. Okay.
Last one, Sam. Coach. What I was going to say, the coach.
You're like me.
Yeah. You mentioned this in your opening statement, but just can you talk about the frustrations about finishing around the rim?
Yeah, listen. I think I don't know. Maybe it was again. I tried to preach to these guys. This is opening night. This is our third game, but there is something different about opening night. Because it's all they hear and see, and it's a different feel. It's game one. It counts. These guys smoked some finishes. I mean, at the rim that they're going to make, that we're going to be much better at. I was more disappointed. I thought it was just a bad passing game. I thought some of Solo's passes, when we had advantages that normally for us are hitting the roller and laying the ball in. I thought Malachi, I just thought we missed opportunities, and then just missing so many shots as bad as we passed it. It probably should have been a 17 or an 18 assist game. So we're going to get so much better from this. Tonight sucked, but this is going to be, I think it's going to be an awesome team this year when we get healthy and we get our shit together.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.